first of all, Jake, hello, welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and talk to us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I'm so very busy right now in the time of quarantine, let me tell you.
All right, so we got some wonderful questions here to ask you about yourself and your career, and hopefully your goals for the future. So first question, at what moment did you feel like you really made it as an actor?
What moment did I feel like I made it as an actor? Well, Brett, I still don't feel that way. I don't know that I'll ever feel that way. I think early on when I started booking some film roles, there was a year that I had booked 3 films at the end of the year that were going to shoot the beginning of the next year. So I went into the holidays with 3 films lined up. It was True Love, which was an independent film, another one called Flash of Genius that had Greg Kinnear in it, and another film called The Lovely Bones that Peter Jackson directed with Sercia and Mark Wahlberg. So I was going into the new year to film those, and that was the first year it felt like, wow, like this is what it could be like. I could have films lined up, because often you don't, oftentimes you're in the middle of a job and you don't know what your next job is. So that was a good year. That was a long time ago.
All right, wonderful. Next question. What has your experience been like during the pandemic? What kind of work have you been doing in this time?
I'm sure as you guys have felt as well, the industry's kind of been put on hold, unfortunately. There's been some auditions. A lot of it's self-tape. Most things are self-tape right now anyway. I actually film my self-tapes right here. This is the wall in my kitchen that my wife and I do my self-tapes on. And there's some auditions where they're hoping to go in the next couple months, but you don't really know. I was lucky enough to record my first audiobook last month. Stephanie Meyer, who wrote the Twilight series, she wrote a new book, which is basically the first book, but from Edward Cullen's perspective. And so I narrated that entire 650-page book. And that was a first for me. We did it in like 2 weeks. I went in every days a week and got into a little booth by myself. The engineer was in another room, and we just read the book for 2 weeks straight. So that's going to come out on August 4th, I think, on Audible and wherever you get audiobooks. So that was really lucky for me to pick up that kind of job, because right now voiceovers and audiobook recordings are kind of the only thing we can safely do at the moment, because you can show up, go into a booth, be by yourself, it's all clean, and record. So that's been a real saving grace, and something that I've been wanting to do for a long time and hope to keep doing.
Very, very, very impressive. This next question kind of ties in with that. Have you worked on any projects from home during this time, besides what you just mentioned?
Not like my own projects, because I write quite a lot as well. So like right now, my wife and I are developing a story that we can hope, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to use, I'm a big believer in parameters being good for artists as much as we hate them. Like time constraints and budget constraints are annoying, but they're very, very good for creativity, because they force you to pull out something you wouldn't have otherwise thought of. So like we have a location that we can use for free in the mountains of Arizona, right? And so we're using these parameters of like, okay, we have this location. Because of COVID, we can only maybe have like 3 actors in it that are friends and a couple people to shoot it, like a very skeleton crew. What story can we tell that will feel big with those parameters? And so that's been a really great exercise, that we're just like throwing out ideas and using the things that we have in our home, the props that we might own, so we don't have to spend the money. Gathering, like I have a friend who's a cinematographer that I worked with recently, and we've been trying to work together again. And so we've been talking. I pitched him, hey, I want to go do this thing, and he's like, great, like let me know when you go there, send me footage, we'll go together and we'll shoot test footage. So trying to just keep myself like busy doing my own projects, that and reading, lots and lots of endless reading. Yeah.
Do you have any audition stories that are maybe scary, maybe funny, maybe amazing that you would like to share with us?
Auditions. Auditions are a funny thing. Uh, they're not any actor's favorite thing to do, I don't think, because I'm sure you guys actors have felt like you have such a finite amount of time to go in and show who you are and try to get the scenes right before it's all over and you're on to the next thing. And I mean, I felt that for 15 years. But I think the most important thing to remember is, because we get nervous when we walk into an audition, and the only reason that you're there, they ask to see you because they want to see your interpretation of this character. And the only thing I'm concerned about is giving my version of that character, their voice, a shot. Like trying something out. It's not going to be final product, but to try stuff out. And the big secret that no one tells you is that every casting director, every producer, every director, they hope, they pray that the next person that walks through that door is the person they're going to hire, because they're freaking out too, because they've been watching everybody come in and come in and come in, and they haven't found their person yet. So it's important to remember, why shouldn't that person do? Why not? You're there. You've been asked to go there. You know what you're doing. You've put in the work. Oftentimes we think that if I get this job, it'll be the answer to my prayers. But it's more powerful to think, well, maybe the answer to their prayers. You know what I mean? Like, they're looking for somebody. I could be that somebody. And if I'm not, I'm not. There's not much you can do about it. Like, I've lost more roles than I've had because of things I can't help. Because the way I look, the way I sound, like it's like everything, all of that's out of your control, because they're painting a picture and they need the color, but you're green. We can't change that, So maybe the next time they'll need something more like you. I don't know. Yeah, so that's auditioning. Yeah.
I never would have thought of it that way. That's amazing. What was the most unexpected thing to ever happen on a set to you?
Probably punch Wahlberg in the face by accident. I did it. It was kind of a love tap. I didn't make direct contact, which would have been even cooler. But so that film I mentioned earlier, The Lovely Bones, I have a fight. I beat up Mark Wahlberg in a cornfield, first with like a flashlight, then a baseball bat, and then I just start punching him in the face. It's a great scene. And very clear that the stunt coordinator was very clear, like, do not touch Mark's face. You can punch the stunt guy in the face all you want. We're paying him to be punched in the face, but do not Wahlberg. He's an American star. And I was like, great, got it. And then I go over and I grab him by the shirt and I'm doing, these punches. And then just on the way up, I give him like a real nice love tap right on the way up. And the scene continues where AJ Michalka, her character, comes and grabs me, rips me away. And in this particular scene, the main character, played by Sercia, is in like this sort of limbo space between heaven and earth. And so there's all these fans going, and it's a special effects scene. And we're meant to lie there on the ground until they call cut. And the whole time on the ground is like, Mark is going to now punch me in the face. But they called cut. And I kind of like looked up from the ground, and he just gave me a smile and gave me a thumbs up. And then I realized, like, Mark Wahlberg was in street gangs when he was a kid. He's way tougher than I'll ever be. I could not hurt him no matter how hard I tried. But it was a surprise, and I punched Mark Wahlberg. There you go.
Great story. Great story.
Fun story. Cool.
What was the most challenging role that you have played, and how did you overcome it?
So I did this movie called Love and Mercy, which was about the Beach Boys, very big band back in the 60s. Round, round, get around, I get around. And so I played Mike Love, and that the whole process was kind of like, I first wasn't going to audition. They wanted me to sit in the room, and my bio says I'm a musician songwriter. Like I just do that stuff at home. I don't consider myself a singer. Plus, Mike Love has a very iconic voice. And so I was kind of like, I said, I'm not singing in the room because I won't get the job if I do. And I would like this job. So I had sent them like some audio recordings that I had done, that I recorded at home of like songs I produced myself. So somehow that worked, and I booked the job. And then the whole time in pre-production, I was trying to work on Mike Love's physicality, because he's really got this interesting thing with his shoulders are kind of high, and like his movements are very specific. And I was trying to build this, and I was bringing it to the director, who was Bill Polad, and I would like call him in his office and like, hey, I kind of want to show you what I'm working on, see if you think it's okay. And he was so reserved, and I would show him like, okay, this is what I'm thinking for the performance. And he'd be like, yeah, great, we'll find it. And I would just leave his office being like, I'm fired. I'm so getting fired. And I convinced myself, and I never got fired, but I like made myself miserable through this whole movie. And then at the end of it, it's the movie I'm most proud of, which is so strange. Like, because so many wonderful people were involved, like every head of the departments, they were all like Academy Award winners or nominees, like just the best of the best. Robert Yeoman was our DP, and he shoots all of Wes Anderson's films. I got along with him really well, and Paul Dano, and like it was wonderful. And I sang with Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys in the rap party. But like in that time, there was something that I was struggling with, and I didn't know what it was. And the only thing you can do is push through it. Like just show up to work every day, push through it. Hey Jake, and like you'll survive. And not every show or project's gonna be like the one that makes you feel great. You hope they all make you feel great, but everything's different. There's different energies for every set. But that was one that was like, for some reason, it was tough, but like I'm so proud of it. And yeah, that's the story.
That's great. What was the favorite role you have played so far?
This is something that like, it's like, I always have to think about this one. And it's tough because they're all so different. But for today, I'm going to go with Ian O'Shea in The Host, which was directed by Andrew Niccol, who did Gattaca, and he wrote Truman Show, and was one of my like all-time favorite people on this planet. And that was another movie that had Sercia Rona in it. That was my second film with Sercia, and she's a dear William Max Irons. Like, it was such a wonderful cast. The producers, Stephanie Meyer, her co-producer Megan Hibbett, like became almost like family to me, even to this day. Like, we still hang out and work together to this day. And for me, like, that's a successful project. Not how many people go to the movies and buy tickets or how many viewers there are. Like, for me, a successful project is, how did I feel at the end of this? Like, did I feel performance-wise? I was taking chances and being daring. Did it feel good working with my contemporaries? And that was one where it was just like so special all the way through. We got to like climb through mountains like little kids with binoculars and scope out the enemy. Like, it was great. It was just a wonderful time. And I really enjoyed those 3 months immensely.
That's wonderful. What is your dream role? Like, what character would you love to play in a TV show or movie or animated show or even a video game?
A video game. That'd be fun. This is another question that I get asked a lot. And every time I get asked it, I say, you know what? I'm going to plan for this one next time. I'm going to be ready with an answer. But I still don't have a great answer to be honest. But like, as I sit here today, what I would love to tell, and I don't know what the story is, but I would love to tell like historical American epic. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's like Ulysses S. Grant or like Teddy Roosevelt. You know what? Like something that's like big and feels like Dances with Wolves or like There Will Be Blood, or like these kinds of films. They run so deep. And my favorite part about those kinds of stories is they're deeply, deeply flawed heroes. And I feel like I connect with that. And I feel like a lot of people connect with that type of, that archetype. Someone who we put on the pedestal and think is so great and wonderful because of all the adversity they overcame. but also learning about like all their downfalls and the struggles and the failures. So yeah, I don't know what that story is, but that's like the one that lives in me the most, that like I yearn for. So if one of you would write that and cast me in that film and direct it very well, I would appreciate it.
I would love an epic about Ulysses Grant. He's one of my favorite presidents. That's a wonderful
Yeah.
idea.
Well, you know who's trying to do that is Leonardo DiCaprio has been trying to do that for a few years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He has like his script for that, but I think he's been trying to get that made. So if he doesn't do it, I'm your man.
What advice do you have for filmmakers working with their talent?
Filmmakers working with talent, take acting classes, because like being on set is like being in the UN. It's like the United Nations. We're all coming together. We're trying to make something together, move forward with something together. The only problem is different languages. The actors speak a different language from the directors, from the costume designers, to the set decorators, to the camera department, to the grips. Like everyone's got their own language, and as a director, you have to be multilingual. That's your job, is to speak everyone's language so that everyone knows exactly what you want with few words and can get the job done, because there's only so much. And working with actors, like by going to a few acting classes and being in front of an audience, being asked to be vulnerable or emotional at a moment's notice, allow you to feel for them more, when it's like all of a sudden you have the perfect light for that emotional monologue that you weren't going to shoot, but you get the sunset and you're like, I've got to shoot this now, can you do it? The actor's going to be freaked out, and if you know how to communicate with them to be like, look, I know you can do it, whatever it is that you've learned, like how they work, because all actors want is a director who they feel like they can put their life in their hands. And let's be honest, that's what every director wants, is everyone to put their lives in his or her hands and guide them. And an actor will give that to you if they trust you. And they can only trust you if they know that like you are communicating on their level with understanding. And that kind of, once that trust is built, you guys can go anywhere together. Because I've been there with, if it's a director I trust, I will try anything, no matter how wrong it feels or how weird. I'll ask oftentimes to say, hey, can I give you a take that's like, I don't happen, it's gonna be weird, because I know if I trust you and it doesn't work, then you won't put it in. But if it's something like awesome, you'll be brave enough to put it in. But if it's a director that I don't trust, I won't do that. I'll reserve myself, and that doesn't do me any favors, and it certainly doesn't do the project any favors. But sometimes you just know, like, if I do that thing you want me to do, it's gonna be, you're gonna like it, you're gonna keep it. I'm gonna be so disappointed. So it's really a game of each other's languages. And another thing too is like within speaking different languages, every actor is different. Some actors want you to, like, they'll be like, tell me how you want me to say the line. Great, you'll just tell them how they say the line. Other actors like me like to be like nudged in the right direction. And for me, like the power of suggestion or asking questions is how I make discoveries. So like if a director comes up to me and says like, hey, I had this thought, what if you don't entirely trust your sister? What if them? What does that feel like? Does that make you feel anything? Why don't we try that and see what happens? And you go, yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, let's try that. And then suddenly you approach the scene kind of being like a little more skeptical, a little more like, how are you reacting to what I'm saying right now? I don't know that I can tell you everything. And a scene that might have been like a little flat and boring now has this charge underneath it that only you know, because he hasn't told the other actor, hey, he doesn't trust you, so he's gonna do the scene differently, right? He only told me. That way, that person's now looking at me going, why are you looking at me that way? And it makes them respond differently. And those little games are like, I love those games on set. Like those are the good games. There's good games and bad games. Bad games are like ego games and like I'm more famous than you games, or I'm gonna steal the camera time games. Like don't like those games. But games of like I'm gonna do something different, but I'm not gonna tell you. And if you're with me, like something cool is gonna happen. Or it might not. It might fail. And then that's another part of it too. Is like give your actors freedom to fail. Like if you have in the mind do one, like completely wrong. Because then like once your guard's let down, then that might be the take where everyone's like, holy crap, I didn't know that that's what the scene was about. Glad we got it. Moving on to the next. That's my long-winded how to deal with actors.
All right, final question. What advice do you have for aspiring actors?
So the one I like to give comes in 3 parts, because I know brevity is the soul of wit, but you know, why not? I'm gonna give you some length. The 3 things, and I'll break them down, are be early, be kind, know your lines. All right? Like there's a lot of things that you'll need in your arsenal to survive and keep going, but like with those 3 things, you've got your start. So be on time, be earlier, be on time. Like I have this thing that like I don't generally tell people, but like so when you're on set, you get your call sheet, and each actor is listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Number 1 is reserved for the lead of the movie. So like number 1's like Tom Cruise or Chris Pratt, like that's number 1. Number 2 is going to be the second lead, the next person that's higher up. Like it goes on like the largeness of the role and also like the size of the actor, the star of the actor. So I've been everywhere between like 1 and 14, right? Like it really means nothing at the end of the day. Like it does not matter what the number you are on, the matters on that screen, right? But a rule I have is when it comes to like calling you to set, you go to your trailer, you hang out, you do what you do, and they come and knock on the door and they say like, you know, hey Brett, a 5-minute warning, or hey, they're ready for you, come to set now. My rule is for myself is I never let number 1 beat me to set, right? So whoever's number 1 on that call sheet, I never let them beat me to set. So when they call me, like I'm inspired to get out of that trailer. If I go on set and number 1 is already there, then I'm late, like super, super late if that person's already there. The other side of that coin is if you're number 1 on the call sheet, never let anyone beat you to set, right? Because now you're all racing to set because we have such little time already. And the earlier everyone gets to set, the more takes you might get. But if people are dragging their feet, suddenly what you could have had 5 takes, now you've got time for 2, maybe a third if someone kicks their feet, right? And that happens a lot when you have an ensemble for a TV show that has 5 actors in the scene. Like nothing is worse or makes like it's under my skin when 4 out of the 5 people are there. Person, we're all going like, where are they? They're late again? Oh, yeah, of course. Well, this isn't my money I'm putting into this thing. You know what I mean? So like, that's the key. If you're never let number 1 get to set before you, and if you're number 1, don't let anyone get to set before you. Number 2 was be kind. Just be nice. Like one of the things that great me on is I did an internship at a production company that did mostly commercials. And like I sat at the desk every day and did whatever. I was the errand boy, and we got to shoot a commercial. It was a car commercial, and I was a production assistant, like bottom of the rung, like first to set, last to leave. You know, whenever they needed something, like I was running around getting it, and it was such a gift early on as an actor because I got to see every department and how they worked, and I got to see how people treated different people in different departments. And I got to see how hard production assistants really work. And so to this day, like, just be nice to everyone on set because it's a high stress job. You don't know what someone's going through. My my mentor used to say, as an actor, that doesn't mean that everything is nicey cup of tea, as he used to say. So like, it doesn't mean that you have to be a pushover or that you have to go out of your way or give all your energy to be so nice to everybody. It's just be kind. Just be kind, and like, be ferocious when it comes to your work. Be ferocious when it comes to making choices or fighting for your character or that thing that you really believe in. Because the nicer you are around that, the more you'll get your way out of it. So, you know, don't throw a fit because someone got your coffee order wrong. Next time, get your own coffee. You know what I mean? And then know your lines. That's literally like the first thing an actor is supposed to be able to do, is know your lines. Guess sometimes you forget your lines. That's fine. Happens to me. Like, sometimes you go up and you're like, I have no idea what the next line is. And usually it's because the writing's bad. You'll learn that too. Like, if you can't remember lines, you'll start to learn like, oh, it's because this writing isn't good. But you're gonna have to find a way to make it good. That's your job. So know your lines, but don't know how to say them. It's two very, very specific, different. Knowing your lines and knowing how you're going to say them. One is just having them with you. The other one is keeping you stuck in your way, and it's going to prevent you from seeing that little thing that your scene partner just changed, where he doesn't trust you anymore. You're going to miss that if you are married to your decision of, I know my lines, I'm going to say them this way. But no one wants to watch that. That's boring. Like, what if you watch a tennis match and everyone already knew which way they were going to hit it? It'd be incredibly boring. And this is supposed to be like top tier tennis, where you're hitting the ball back and forth and you're being surprised. And the only way that you can play that kind of game at that caliber is having what's called making the words incidental, right? The words are just, they're there and they'll come to you. You'll trust that they'll come to you because your scene partner is good too. And they're going to send you the idea and you're going to pick up on it and then you're going to hit that idea back. And it's as easy and or simple and as difficult as that. But I think like that's what we're all like searching for. Like that's the journey that we should be on anyway. So yeah, be early, be kind, know your lines, get your own coffee.
Well, Jake, that was a fantastic interview. I'm pretty sure we've all learned a lot. You had some great stories. And I believe I'm going to hand this back over to Liz Finney, and we can begin the Q&A with some of the students who can ask you questions that maybe we didn't go over.
Great. Awesome. Come on in, Liz Finney.
Thanks. He wasn't kidding. That was amazing. And thank you. That was, guys, you can unmute really quickly for those applause, just because we're used to AFL applause.
Okay.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Come on.
It just muted me, and it like dissed me when it did it. It just went muted.
It goes.
That's one of our control panel teachers making sure everybody was muted again.
Okay.
Totally.
Just because
It was Jake. I did not think that it would do that to everybody.
It was like muted. It was like
Thanks for coming,
combat.
Thanks, Jake. You may now just smile, make faces. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute myself.
Don't worry, Jake. That also happened to me at the same time.
Yeah, it probably
yeah?
happened to all of you. Because remember, right now we want to make sure that basically only in this next section, only Jake Abel and the person asking the question are going to be on camera. Because Jake, just so you know, if anyone has to tape you again in GoToMeeting, to pin two people speaking is really the only way to do those quick cuts like you would in a live interview. So it's kind of like Google Docs, and then it pings to audio. So anybody, I hear somebody's mic that's on that maybe shouldn't be. If you can go ahead and disable that, thank you so much. And if it's okay with you, we'd love to make it up. We have some super fans of your work that are here with us today who have been really, really excited to ask you some questions. Also some familiar faces that recognize. I think Mario's camera's disabled, but you definitely know Xander and Alex. So yeah, a couple. Oh, there you go, Mario. I see your face. So, and now I'm going to turn over the Q&A over to Ryan Hetrick. He's going to be pulling the names. If at the very, very end of this, so generally we always do photos with our special guests. So obviously, this is a little different than when we have in-person meetings, but what we do is we, I'll walk everyone through this again, but we do one shot where we throw our hands up in the air. We do one that's smiley for everybody's moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, where we look really, really friendly, and then and a little bit more professional, and then we let our guests choose a pose. So
Great.
just a heads up that we might just do some screen grabs of that in this different interview environment. But I'll go ahead and hand things off to Ryan. But again, Jake, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me, Liz.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So if you
Thanks,
post
Brett.
your questions in the chat, why don't we start, since I know he had a question, Alex Husak, why don't we start with your question, and then if you guys want to post your questions in the chat, I will get to you in the order that you post them.
My question is, have you ever thought of doing like theater or Broadway? That's my question.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just talking to my my wife about this yesterday because we do Hamilton stop on us, and I've never really done theater, and I would love to try it. I think that's like when I go see friends. I've had friends on Broadway, and I've seen shows, and the level of stamina to do performances, to do like 8 a week. I mean, that would be it's like going to the gym. I'd have to go to the gym before that, like an acting gym, because what a difficult thing. For me, it's like challenge my work, because I will get bored very easily, and it feels like that would be so scary that I would be challenged every single day. And I would look forward to that thing that happens in theater where you get to know the material so well that each night gets to be new. I would love to experience that, because in film and TV, you do it once and it's gone, the moment's gone. And there's some parts of me that love that. But there's some parts of me that miss playing characters and doing scenes I really love. Long story boring, yeah, I would love to do theater.
Yeah. Ryan, you want to take the next one?
Yeah. So
Thank you
Andre,
for-
do you want to go next? You want to unmute?
I think they might not have heard you call their name, Ryan. We had a little
Oh,
glitch
sorry.
on. No.
Andres, did you? If you could unmute
this
to
one.
ask your question. Okay, thank you.
Got it. So I got an interesting one.
Okay.
So since superhero genres are getting bigger nowadays, what brand would you actually looking forward to work with, and what role are you thinking about picking?
If I got to pick to be a superhero, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What's funny is like I'm on this mission to be in the sequel to Aquaman. Like I'm on this very serious mission to be in the Aquaman sequel. So I did a film last year with James Wan, who directed Aquaman, who wrote the Saw movies, all those like crazy billion-dollar franchise horror films. So I did a really great horror film with him last year, and like my whole secret reason for doing it was I wanted to be an Aquaman, the sequel, because I knew he was doing that, and I really wanted to work with him and his producing partner Michael Clear, who I'd done a film called I Am Number 4 with years ago. And so that's been like I've been putting that out into the ether for like the last 8 months of like I'm going to be in the sequel to Aquaman. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm gonna have James put me in that movie somehow. I don't. But as far as like my choice for a superhero, you're right. Like there's so many. And what's cool too is now that there's a lot of voiceover work. Like I've auditioned to be Superman, which was so much fun. like tons of fun. They're doing a new animated series for Superman. But I don't know that I have like a choice of who I would want to be. Do you have like your favorite superhero that you would want to be?
Oh, if I want to be
Yeah,
personating myself.
Yeah, who would you pick?
Well, actually, I'm interested to if I get into the actor industry, I would pick myself a penguin. Well, it's
For
not a
Batman?
superhero, but a villain. Yeah.
Well, that's the obvious choice. Be a villain. Villains are way more fun. I've made an entire career of being
Pretty much,
bad.
yeah.
Like way more fun to be the bad guy.
It is.
Penguin's a great choice. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, we have Patrick.
I'm on the top left corner. The first thing I just gotta mention to Jake is it is such a huge thrill to have you here, like
Oh,
a
thanks.
live satellite, like in a way through GoToMeeting. And
Yeah.
it's such a pleasure to meet you too. My question was from Supernatural, which is where you played Adam Milligan, and I was curious to ask about one scene that happened where your character got possessed by the arch god Michael, and your eyeballs actually like it was glowing all blue. And I was curious to ask, what did the special effects crew do to make your eyes like a glow all blue, like he was possessed in a way?
I mean, my best guess is After Effects. That's my guess. What's funny is like, I think I know what you're talking about. Was it like before I got dragged into the pit at the end? And
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, this show's crazy if you haven't seen Supernatural. And I played like Adam Milligan, but he was first eaten by a ghoul, and then he was Archangel Michael, and then he was kind of like Adam, but not. And then I did scenes of myself. The show's wild, but like I think it was the third season when Archangel Michael took over my body. I had this like big scream where I look up, my eyes glow, and the sounds all crazy that comes out of my mouth. And I remember the boys, Jared and Jensen, telling me, they were like, "Look, you're like an idiot, but just like open your mouth real big, and you don't have to scream. Don't even make a noise. Just go like." And then they'll just do it all later, and you'll look awesome. And I was like, cool. And so that's what I did. Just open my mouth, looks crazy, and then they go in. They had a bunch of cool stuff in After Effects and sound mixing, and that's how we did it.
Oh, okay, really cool. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, next up for questions, we have Javier.
Hi there. So this is actually a question that my little sister wanted me to ask because she loves Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to know how you feel about you being the forgotten brother on the show.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. It's kind of funny. Like I forget what season where they did they went to the school play, and they're like, "Who's that?" And it's like, "That's your brother, Adam." I love. It's been a great through joke throughout the series, and we started filming the last 2 episodes of the show right before COVID hit, and we had to come home, unfortunately. And it's great because it's become such a part of Adam's psyche as well, and who he is, and the things that he does at the end of the series. And for me, like, that's worth the wait. It's worth like being forgotten, so that he could build something deeper with his sort of character. And you still get to see all my friends from the show, and we do conventions throughout the year. But Adam's gonna get his day. Don't worry, he's gonna get his day.
Thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, questions, we have Isabel.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Isabel.
Isabel.
I have a question. Do you have any favorite animated series you like to watch? Like any favorite animated shows that you like?
I'm trying. It's funny as I watch. Back when it came out, I was watching Big Mouth, and my
Oh, yeah.
wife would just come into the room and be like, "Don't, you're not allowed to watch this anymore." But my favorite show, my favorite animated show, the one I watch the most consistently, because I watch it when I cook, is Bob's Burgers.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Bob's Burgers so much, and I want to be on that show so badly, just to do like a guest star episode. I don't know what it is, but that's like the only thing I'll put on when I cook dinner, and it's my favorite show.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Can I be next?
Actually, we have Michael next, but we can put you on the list, Kaylin. So yeah, next up though is Michael.
Yes, hello there. I'm just curious, you know, when you started out in the business, was there like somebody you looked up to, you know, like who inspired you to become like an actor or something like that?
Yeah, for me, when I was a kid, it was Jim Carrey. I mean, you know, I was born in '87. I grew up a '90s kid, and like Ace Ventura was my everything. I even had like an Ace Ventura Pet Detective card that came with like the VHS. I like signed my name on. And I used to like, my mom would, I was such like an ornery kid. I would always get in trouble. My mom would like, you know, try to discipline me, and I would do scenes from Ace Ventura and make her laugh, and I would never get in trouble. So it was a wonderful, wonderful thing to have. And so, yeah, so like that's what made me like want to do it. But I honestly didn't, even though I worshiped him when I was young, I didn't get into it until I was a freshman in high school. I got into an improv class, and that kind of showed me that like, oh, this is what I've wanted to do this whole time. And this is why I used to take my parents' video camera and shoot scenes and stop motion animation videos in my bedroom. Like, it was all there. I just didn't know it yet. But yeah, I've still yet to meet or work with Jim Carrey. But he was like, as a kid, my idol. It still is. I mean, it's great.
Awesome.
Carrey.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, and next question up, we have Jaden.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
My question is, what were some of the things that you did to prepare for your role in Percy Jackson?
So preparation for Percy Jackson for the first movie was incredible. So we filmed that movie, the whole production for me, that's not including pre-production that was like happening before I got to Vancouver, was 6 months. We were in Vancouver for 6 months. Movies do not last 6 months unless they're like Marvel movies or like, you know, big crazy budget studio films, and this happened to be one of them, because the sequel to Percy did not take 6 months. The sequel was like just under 3, which is pretty average. But we did so much, sword training. Like we had these little bamboo swords that we like would go every morning, wake up, and we had this giant warehouse that used to be like a Sears warehouse, like a big manufacturer's warehouse that's now a studio and outside of Vancouver. And we had tons of space, and we would go over choreography with stunt coordinators, and then we would do wire work. We had to learn how to fly on the wires and do fight scenes on wires. And we tried a couple different rigs. Like we first had this big thing that was used in the Peter Pan movie, and it was like you were in this big arm that was all around you, and we would spin around in it. But they realized that it was going to cost so much money to paint out this giant like mechanism that we just went with straight regular wires, you know, with vests on and Hong Kong harnesses and doing wire work. So we did like endless amount of training for getting choreography, learning wire work, and you know, and I was like, I just turned 21, and it was just like going to camp. Literally, there was the camp in the woods as well. So it was like the coolest camp experience. And then I just sort of, I didn't read the book, but I knew a lot about Luke Castellan, the character. And I try to fight for a lot of things I knew were important, like he's supposed to have a big scar on his face, and I was like, I need that scar because it's a very big part of his psyche. And they were like, this is a studio film. There's no way we're putting like a scar over your face. We hired you because of your face, and there's not much you can fight on in that. And that's why they gave me the little scar in the end fight scene. So yeah, it was just like about a month of just solid pre-production in Vancouver, and then we shot for 5 months all over Vancouver. So yeah, it's definitely up there with like The Host as being like two films that were the most fun to do. And the sequel was even more fun because we were less nervous, we were older, we knew each other better. And so the second film, I think, is in a lot of ways even funnier because we were less nervous and had more fun with it. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and next up for a question, we have Kayla.
I can't turn my camera on.
Oh, sorry, the room might be full, but if you could just, I guess, still ask your question.
Yeah, I can just say it. So I'm an animation student, and I was just curious if you ever did a voice for a character in an animated movie or animated TV show, what type of character do you think you and your voice would best fit? Because like keep in mind, in voiceover, it doesn't matter what you look like your voice is the only thing you need.
Yeah, and I think that's been the most fun about having some voiceover auditions during this time, because like I said, I auditioned for Superman, so I gave him a couple like different voices, but like right after that I played like this British gangster, and I was like, no one, if I just like showed up and was like, hey, I'm a British gangster right now, it'd be like, no, you're not, get out of here. But I was like, I could fake this with my voice just well enough. And that was a lot of fun. So I think like what's interesting is there's some where I've gotten that they're like, they want a voice, but a lot of times a lot of these shows like Bob's Burgers too, it's like they don't want you to put on a voice. Like they don't want you to put on like a crazy voice. They a lot of times just want you to kind of talk like a bigger version of yourself. And so I feel like what's cool is that there was one guy that they sent me, and it's neat looking at a picture or a drawing of a character, and they're like, this is who you are, and then interpreting that. Like this guy had like, he's like a hipster guy, like a butt cut, like a little space in his tooth, but he was like a cool dad. And it was so much. I recorded his audition for like hours, like 2 hours, because I was having so much fun finding this weird, strange voice for him. But I think like the pinnacle for everyone is like a Pixar film, right? Like that's kind of, that's where you want to be. So I don't think I'm somebody that has like a super, super malleable voice. Like my late acting mentor, he had this wonderful voice. And it's like, so when I did the audiobook for the Twilight book that's going to come out, when I talked to Stephanie Meyer, I was like, look, like I love listening to the guy who recorded the Harry Potter books. He's like fantastic. He does all the voices and super as me. But what I can do is like approach each character like an intention behind their voice, and then that will separate everybody. And she was like, that's exactly what I want. So I sort of relied on that. But I don't know. Do a show and send me an audition, and I'll do whatever you want.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
And for our next question, we have Tal.
Hi, Jake.
Hi,
I
Tal.
am an actor. I am an actor also and a filmmaker, but I am SAG now, member of SAG-AFTRA. So if I
Hey, welcome to the union.
Thank you. So if I produce a film and I'm in it, it has to be SAG. And I've never gone through that process. Since you make your own movies, how difficult is that process?
I mean, to be fair, I haven't made my own yet. But get a good producer and producer, or get a friend who's smart and tell them, hey, you're my producer, figure this out. Because that's honestly what you need. Because if you are going to be the filmmaker, and especially if you're gonna put yourself in it, like what I'm hoping to do is direct it and put myself in it, which is like an insane amount of work. And because I'm trying to keep a very small crew, that means I'm gonna have to do even more work.
Mm-hmm.
So get a really smart friend, buy them a book called Shooting to Kill by Christine Vachon, who is the head of Killer Films in New York. They did Boys Don't Cry, among many other award-winning films. And that book is about it's about how to produce an independent film in New York. So it's very like specific to that, but it teaches you everything you need to know about all the departments, what the work entails to like push something through that you want to do. Get a smart friend, say, read that, read the SAG website, and then come back to me with actors. You know what I mean? Like, it's all there for you. It's all online, right? Like everything you need to know is online. You just gotta want it bad enough to be able to sit down and figure it out. But if you want to do it, you'll do it. You'll figure it out. There's all kinds of like SAG ultra low budgets. Like they have a ton of different contracts that are there to help the filmmaker get union actors for a price that they can afford. It doesn't mean that all actors will do it, but it's like all the resources are there for you. Get a smart friend and go get it done.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Good luck.
Thanks.
Next up for a question, we have Sean.
So I can't really turn on my camera, so
I can hear
the
you.
app is acting weird for me. But anyway, what were your opinions on the Scooby-Doo crossover that Supernatural did not long ago?
The Scooby-Doo episode?
Yeah.
Right. What's crazy is I haven't even watched it. Like, it's such a cool episode. It's such a cool episode. You know what? I'm in it. Well, I'm not in it. Why would I watch it? But no, I haven't seen it. I probably should. I mean, there's like, that show's been on for 15 seasons. There's that show. That's also why I love that show. Even though I haven't seen that episode, it's so much fun. And that's the reason they've continued on for 15 years. Because originally it was only supposed to be a 5-season show. The creator wanted it to, but then everyone was like, we really like working with each other, right? Yeah, we want to keep doing this? Yeah, and so then they kept doing it. And that's why there's 15 seasons, because everyone genuinely loves each other on that show. When I go back, it's the same crew as like 10 years ago. It's amazing. It's wonderful and very, very unique. So that's why they're able to do fun stuff like that, because they keep the spirit alive. So.
And it was like brilliantly written and brilliantly animated. Like me and my mom,
I'll check it out.
Were, like baffled.
I'll check it out.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
So next up
Thank you.
For questions, we have Antonio.
Yes. So my question had to kind of do with writing music, because you talked about how you wrote songs. So my question, I guess, would be like, how do you, like, what's your creative process with coming up with your own song?
It's like I kind of go through like really intense bouts of song. There's sometimes I'll go like a month or two without even touching the guitar, which is awful. But I'm just not there. I'm writing or I'm doing something else. I kind of allow myself to feel what it is I'm supposed to be doing, and kind of just trust that. And then like something will come, like my feelings will instead of be coming out of me with like a script, they'll come out of me as more of like poetry. And so like, okay, it's time to write a song, and sit down and we'll just kind of play with the guitar. Sometimes the words there, like I tend to get like an idea. For me, it's all about like, what's the story of a song? Like all the stuff that we do is connected, right? Like writing a song is no different than writing a screenplay, because at the end of the day, you're trying to elicit emotion through a story that has a central theme. And every great song and every great story has a central theme. And until you know what that central theme is, you can't finish your screenplay or your song. And that's like, I'll find when I get stuck, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm singing about. That's good too. But that's what I look for. It's like, well, what am I telling you? What's the tone? And then like the third verse will come, the bridge will come, and yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, and for our next question, we have Matthew Boyd.
Yeah. Regarding with your connection with the Beach Boys, did you go to Brian Wilson's birthday celebration at the Greek Theater in 2015?
I did not, unfortunately. I wish I could have, but at the wrap party, which I wasn't going to go to because at the time my wife had like a cold or something, and so she was home and like on the couch. I was just kind of taking care of her, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go to the wrap party. And she's like, you should go. It's down. It's going to take you like 15 minutes to get there. Go say hi, and then come home. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go say hi. And then I get there, and Paul Dano is like, hey, down for. I was like, I mean, I wasn't planning on it. He's like, you're gonna want to stick around. I was like, shoot, okay. And then so it was out hotel, and there's a setup. I'm like, what's going on here? And then Brian Wilson takes the stage with his band, and they're gonna give us our own private concert at the wrap party. And then it's like awesome. And then they call Paul Dano and John Cusack up on the stage, and they sing a song. I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that I didn't miss this. This is great. And then they're like, all right, all the actors that are here, like Jake, everyone, Brett, everyone come up on stage and sing with us. And I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna go sing on stage with Brian Wilson. And the song we sung together was Round Round Get Around, which Mike has the lead, my character had the lead vocals on. And the next thing I know, like I'm it's like singing lead vocals of this song that I didn't even want to sing in the audition. I'm on stage with Brian Wilson singing it with him, next to John Cusack, who I hadn't met while filming because we had no scenes together. And we're just kind of like, hey, nice to meet you. And then we sang Round Round Get Around. And then at home, I was like, oh my God, like, do I tell my wife that this amazing thing happened, or do I just lie to her and be like, yeah, it was boring. It was good to see people. I told her what happened, and she was very jealous. So
the reason why I asked that is because I was actually there. I catered it. My grandmother was the head chef.
You catered it? Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Well, when the Greek opens up, I'm going to come and I'm going to have some.
Actually, we haven't worked there in 5 years due to a company payout, even though we didn't have an official contract. But my grandmother Grace was the head chef there, and she was on a first name basis with a lot of celebrities. Apparently, one time, although I actually don't remember because it was just another day at work, I made Ed Sheeran and I made him laugh.
For you?
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
All right, let's get another question in here. Andrea, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hi, Jake Abel. I'm a huge
Hi.
fan of you. I have one last question. What is it like to work with your 3 co-stars, Jaron Helsky, Misha Collins, and Jigen Alligatz on Supernatural? And will you come back to Supernatural season 15 again to play your character, Adam and Michael, the Angel, one last time?
Yeah, so to answer the last part first, we were in the middle of shooting the last 2 episodes of the series. I worked today. I flew there on Wednesday. I shot like on Thursday, and then production closed down on Friday. So I have 1 scene in the can for the penultimate episode for the last of Supernatural. So yeah. And I'm really excited because some really great things happen. And the last, they want to bring us up at the end of August and do a 2-week quarantine and then finish the series. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that they want to happen right now. So fingers crossed. And as far as working with Jared, Jensen, and Misha, I kind of said this earlier, like, they're such great leaders. Like, I was talking about the number 1 on the call sheet earlier, right? It's usually like the biggest stars. Like number 1 and number 2 are Jared and Jensen, and Misha's number 3. And you're number 1 on a show, in this case, number 1, number 2, they're both the leads. they set the tone for the show. If you have a great number one who like is dedicated and respects everybody and like pushes everybody to be better, then your show is going to be pretty good, or at least stand a chance to be pretty good. And this is a rare case where the top three people are fantastic, like just so nice, so welcoming, so warm, so funny. It's like I enjoy getting that call, hey, are you free to go do an episode? And I'm always available no matter what, because it's like it's like there's no other set like it. And they're just a pleasure to be with and around, and they're really thoughtful and really genuine people, and that can feel rare in this industry. But they're the good ones. They're some of the good ones here.
Thank you. And I'm a huge fan of you, and I love the show Supernatural. I'm
Thank you. Oh, good. Thanks.
And I love your character too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So in terms of our next question, I think Kaylin is up. I'm not sure if she is still in the room, actually. Looking at the attendance list here. Don't think she is. After her, though, was Xander.
Xander, are you there?
Alexander the musician. There you go. Unmute yourself. You got it.
I'm there.
Hey, Xander.
Which two movies did you make with Sercia Ronan?
I made the first one was The Lovely Bones that Peter Jackson directed. And we were but wee children at the time. And so much so that like when I did the test with Sercia, so if I'm sure you guys probably know, but you audition, you have a callback, and then if you're really close to getting it, you'll do what's called a test. And if there's a lead who's already cast, you'll go read with them on camera with the director and hopefully get hired. That's usually the last step. So when I went to do my test with Sercia, she didn't remember me. Her dad did. Her dad was there with me, but I had to be like, remember Lovely Bones? And then it was like this light bulb went off, and she was like, oh my God, because we were all so young. We didn't even really hang out that much because she was so young. And that was on the host that we worked together again, and that's where we became lifelong friends. I mean, she's, it was funny is when she was at the Oscars last year, she got on stage to present the award for Best Male Lead Actor. She handed the award over. She went backstage. 5 minutes later, she said, I'm getting my, I'll be over in 10 minutes or like 30 minutes. Because she was coming over to see my wife and I, because we haven't seen each other in a long time. And as she walked through our front door, she like the replay of the Oscars was happening again, and she was back on stage again. It was super trippy. But she's like another one of those like special people who is still a real person and a great person, a great friend. So yeah, Sercia Ronan.
Who did Sercia play in The Host?
She played Melanie. She was like taken over by an alien, so she was a couple different different people. She's on the poster, and so is Max.
One of them was
Melanie.
Melanie Strider was one of her characters.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, let's get another question in here with Jeffrey. You could unmute yourself, Jeffrey.
Hey, Jake. I know you were in the movie Host, but have you seen a movie that has the same title and
great one?
It's made by the director who made Parasite, Bong Joon-ho. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely that not, which is. I should not even admit it. I should just lie to you and be like, oh, I've watched it. It's wonderful. But I actually haven't. And I know that we get like people mistake the two because of the exact same title. But I not. I need to though. that and the Scooby-Doo episode of Supernatural will be on my list.
Okay, and another question here from Christina.
I am really honored to meet you, Mr. Jake.
Oh, I'm honored to meet you, Christina.
This is my dog, Sonic.
I can't see your dog, but I'm sure it's an awesome
Can you see him now? Oh.
No. I can only see 5 people. Isabel, Brett, Samuel, Amy, and Matthew. That's what I've been staring at this whole time.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to see him because he was wondering like who we were all talking to.
Actually,
Anyway.
hey, come here. Wow. Anyway, this is Sam. Sam, you want to answer the next question? Oh, he got the inside of my mouth. He got the inside of my mouth. You little sniper. You go, boy. Okay, you can go now.
Has your dog ever been auditioned like to a dog food commercial?
No, but I tell him all the time that he needs to get a job and pay rent, and if that means get headshots or whatever, he hasn't listened though.
Yeah, because I heard that like a town scout can even pick which dog or cat might be suitable for a dog or a cat food commercial.
Yeah, he could have been, but now he's getting old. He's so old he has white eyebrows. I don't know how he's grown them. He's grown white eyebrows, and I just make fun of him all day. Eyebrows. He's aged out. Yes.
Well, anyway, my question is to ask you, Jake. Do you always like to? Now that we're on the coronavirus outbreak, are you happy that you're taking a break with all this publicity, like photo shoots and interviews and stuff?
No, because it means I don't have a job. I'll gladly do all that stuff if it means I have a job to promote. But you know, it can get tiring, and the older you get, you know, it's funny when I was a teenager in my early 20s, I'd like hop on a plane at a moment's notice and go anywhere to work, and I'll still do that. But as you get older, you're a little like how am I gonna be gone? Like I'm gonna miss my like how long? But those are necessary evils that you know, the energy drainers that you have to give, because it means that and people care, and that's the only way I like continue on, is if people want to see me work and do those things. So you know, you gotta take it as it comes. It's yeah, part of the job.
I see. I heard from my mother that you're originally from Ohio, right?
I am.
My dad was born in Ohio, which is called Ironton, Ohio.
Oh, I don't know where that is.
Well, it's a small town.
Ironton.
What's that? What's happened?
I think we got 2 people asking a question there, but actually we're running low on time, so I just want to squeeze in
I
one
think
more.
I better cut you short. It's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, bye.
Our last question is going to be from Mr. Darcy.
Darcy.
Hi.
Hello, Miss.
I'm Mr. Percy.
We're all making the same face, which means we all can't quite hear.
Can you guys hear me?
Right? Now I can, yeah. Lay it on me.
Okay. Well, my question for you was, well, first of all, thank you for taking the time to talk to us all. An honor to meet you.
Of course.
And my question for you is, what genre do you find you generally work best in? Like sci-fi, fantasy, etc., etc.?
It's funny because it's like I tend to get hired a lot for sci-fi, I guess, like some fantasy so far. But like, I mean, I've honestly really loved drama, and I've also feel like I haven't had a shot at comedy. Like those are the, I don't know. I don't have a favorite. Like I said, I as long as I'm challenged, and the writing's good, and the director's good, and the cast is good. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter because I try to find comedy in the drama anyway, and I try to find the tragedy in the comedy anyway. Just like that's how I was taught. So for me, like every job kind of has all those elements as much as I can infuse them. Each one has their own ups and downs, like sci-fi action is great wire work and it's fun, but like you get beat up a lot more bruises. But I don't have a genre that I prefer. I'm just in love with good stories, and sometimes that means sci-fi tells really well, because I feel like that's the vehicle for a genre for a sci-fi is to say something about ourselves cloaked in a fantasy world. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the good story and the good filmmaker. Those two things line up. It can be any genre. It's all the same at that point because you're trying to tell a human story. Yeah, that's my very. Thanks.
All right, guys.
Samuel raising their hand in the corner. I feel like Samuel had a question that they've been wanting to ask for a long time. Is that right?
And me.
Samuel?
Oh crap! I unleashed the floodgates.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what I told them, if it's okay with you, Jake, is I knew that I was gonna see you this weekend, just because we do need to honor getting you out in the next 2 minutes, and I know people would love to have a couple photos of you before we lose you, if possible. Is that so, guys? I'm gonna put my email up on the screen. And you can email me any of those burning questions that you just have to know from Mr. Jake, because he is also volunteering some time with our social skills program this Saturday because he's a rock star. So guys, we're gonna unmute you just really, really quickly. If you can just like kill the applause, please. If you can just go ahead and show him how grateful you are.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I guess the one yourselves.
Hey, Liz. Hey, Liz.
Yes.
I pulled these aside in case it would come up. So for me, like, I don't know if you guys read a lot. I think you should. And I think if you want, I'll be in the industry, you should read. I had pulled this as a cool prop in case it ever came up. But like, this is just like the building blocks of stuff that y'all should be reading. And I would like to, if you guys are interested, put together a reading list of books that have helped me. And some of those things are about acting. Some of them are books on storytelling and writing. Some of them are about tennis. One of my favorite books is called The Inner Game of Tennis, which teaches you how to separate your critical voice from your performance voice and help you perform at your best. So if there's a general interest, let me know, and I would love to put together but just a list of books that have made all the difference for me, and that you guys can, at your leisure and in your long journeys, hopefully pick up along the way. So Liz, you tell me. I'm just overachieving. I just this stuff really helped me, and I think that it could help.
Guys, can I, anyone with camera, can I get a thumbs on that? And anybody who's just got chat that they can communicate. I mean, Jake Abel personally picking out books for you guys that he thinks would be really helpful in your career in entertainment. I think that's, yeah, okay. The chat's going crazy. Fat thumbs up from Mr. Darcy. Jake, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So guys, I'm gonna my camera. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it helps me too, because I get to rediscover all my favorite books, and I constantly go through, because these are all dog-eared, right? All my books, just highlighted. That way you can quickly go back in and get some bit of wisdom super quick. So, all right, I'm done. I'll stop.
No, that was amazing. So you can continue. You get like 2 more sentences if you want them.
No, I just like I'm really like what we do makes me really excited. It has for 15 years, and like it's like this, and sometimes it ebbs and flows, and you're like, I'm not really feeling it, and you rediscover it. And I'm so excited that like that as a group, you guys, I've been so impressed every step of the way with like the acting classes on the weekends. You guys inspire me and make me want to keep telling better stories because you guys are like so fearless, and it's incredible.
Wow.
Anyway, I love you.
Yeah, I wish we could enable everybody's mic for them to tell you a personal thank you, because I know that this has meant a lot. I know that this has been a pretty crazy season for everybody, with a lot of really specific hurdles that people have had to climb to be here, and it has meant so much for you to be here today, because we know that when it's one thing for our teachers to be here, it's for you to give of your time shows that you believe in every single person here as an artist, and that means the world, right guys? Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
So with that, what we're gonna do, guys, I'm still asking you to mute those mics. I'm so sorry. Just so we can get that final footage of Jake for these huge group shots. Jacob Smith and Ryan Hedrick. I'm gonna ask you guys to just pin who's talking, or everyone, depending on which one of you guys is working. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the pose where everybody waves their hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. See if you can try to enable the camera. We'll try to get as many folks in this as possible, and then we'll ask for the next shot for everyone who is enabled to change it so that some other people can get the opportunity to be in the 3 shots already. Wave your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. 1, 2, 3, and screenshot. Ryan and Jacob, awesome. And then everyone who is on screen, go ahead and disable your camera so other folks can get a chance to get on. Thank you so much. You guys are rock stars. And we'll go ahead. This is the one where we all point to where Jake is on screen. And we go, what? Jake Abel's here with us? Just point to him. He's going to be on different places for everyone. So this is probably just going to look like it's Alice in Wonderland. Amazing. And 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Amazing. And this last one, Jake Abel, totally. Oh, sorry. This one's for the moms and the grandmas. So everybody look really polite and professional. This is, go ahead and disable your camera if you've already gotten 1 or 2 photos of us. Nice. Jake's gone for the little dumpling pose.
I'm ready.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Nice. Awesome. Okay. And then go ahead, disable anyone who's gotten a chance to have a photo. We'll do this last one. And Jake's gonna tell us what pose. What pose, Mr. Abel?
I'm a over the shoulder head snap.
All right, guys, everybody mug it in 3, 2, 1. Over the shoulder, smolder it. Yes, fantastic.
Samuel, I like your.
Guys,
I'm growing my chest hair after doing that.
Exactly.
Now we're gonna enable cameras and mics, all that kind of stuff for as many people as we can. And everybody, let's give it one more big, huge thank you to Jake, so we can let him go about the rest of his Tuesday. But any
Tuesday.
Really happy joining in with you.
Thank you, guys.
Here's if you want to get a couple photos.
Chewbacca.
Yes.
Jake, who's
Bye,
your favorite baseball team?
guys.
Thank
Give a final wave, everybody.
I love you all.
See ya.
Okay.
Hey, see ya, Harry.